The Galactic conclave had seen every kind of vessel imaginable, living ships grown from coral, crystal dreadnoughts forged in stars, and fleets that bent space-time itself. Yet nothing drew more laughter than the human ship drifting slowly into the outer ring of the assembly. It was small by galactic standards, its hull scarred and darkened, layered with old armor plates instead of glowing shields, its engines humming instead of screaming with modern slip-dry power. And most insulting of all, it used visible thrusters. The alien delegates burst into overlapping laughter across 100 frequencies, translating into a single shared mockery. "This is humanity's warship," one avian general chirped, amusement spilling through the chamber. "It looks like a relic pulled from a museum." Another voice joined in, metallic and cold. "Humanity was once feared, yet this is what remains. A ship that crawls instead of jumps." The human representative stood calmly, hands folded behind his back, his face unreadable. As the laughter continued, to the conclave, humans were an old story. Once ambitious, once dangerous, then quietly reduced after losing the expansion. Wars centuries ago, their territory shrinking, their fleets vanishing from galactic maps. This ship, designated only as Vigilant, was assumed to be a desperate attempt at relevance, a symbol of a fading species clinging to pride. Scanners swept across its hull, and the data only deepened the ridicule. No adaptive shields detected. An analyst announced, "Armor composition appears primitive. Layered alloys instead of phased matter. Weapon systems minimal." Another added, "Projectile-based, chemical propulsion signatures detected." The laughter grew louder, until even seasoned admirals leaned back in their seats, entertained. "What threat could this pose?" the high strategist asked mockingly. "Our patrol ships are 10 times its mass and 100 times its speed." The human envoy finally spoke, his voice calm and measured. "This ship is not weak," he said. "It is old." That only made it worse. Old ships were obsolete ships. Technology moved too fast for age to mean anything but failure. The conclave dismissed the statement instantly, chalking it up to human sentimentality. "Then why bring it here?" the strategist asked. "To remind us of your decline." The human looked up, eyes steady. "We brought it so you would recognize it," he replied. And somewhere deep inside the Vigilant, ancient systems continued to run, patient, silent, and waiting. Asterisk as the laughter faded. Curiosity replaced mockery, and the conclave ordered deeper scans of the human ship. Less out of caution, more out of entertainment. Advanced sensors pierced the hull, mapping internal structures, energy flows, and data cores. And slowly, the amusement began to fracture. "Report inconsistency," one analyst said, confusion seeping into its tone. "What inconsistency?" the strategist asked. "Irritation replacing humor. The internal layout does not match any known human design era." The analyst replied, "It is neither modern nor..." Another voice joined in. "Power core signatures are anomalous. Output is low but extremely stable. Degradation levels near zero." That caught attention. Most ships required constant upgrades to prevent decay. Even advanced civilizations struggled to maintain core integrity beyond a few centuries. "How old is this vessel?" someone asked. No longer laughing. The answer took longer than expected, as historical databases were searched, cross-referenced, and recalibrated. Estimated construction date exceeds 1,000 standard years. The analyst finally said. Silence spread through the chamber. "That is impossible," an admiral snapped. "Human shipbuilding a millennium ago was crude, yet the data aligns," the analyst insisted. "Hull microfractures indicate repeated combat exposure, repairs layered over repairs, all manually reinforced." The conclave stared at the projection of the ship, now seeing the scars differently, not as decay, but as survival. The human envoy spoke again. Quietly, "The Vigilant was launched before your oldest empire unified its first system," he said. A ripple of unease spread. "What kind of ship lasts that long?" the strategist asked, voice low. "A human one," the envoy replied. New scans revealed something else, something deeply unsettling. Embedded beneath the outer armor were components made of materials no longer manufactured, not because they were inferior, but because they were too costly to replace. Redundancy layered upon redundancy, systems designed to function even after catastrophic failure. "This ship should have been retired centuries ago," an engineer muttered. The human envoy shook his head slightly. "It was never allowed to retire," he said, and somewhere inside the Vigilance, long dormant weapon systems began sinking, responding to the focused attention of alien sensors like a predator realizing it was being watched. The conclave's confidence continued to erode as deeper scans unlocked sealed compartments within the ancient ship. Compartments hidden not by advanced cloaking, but by intentional obscurity. These systems are offline, an analyst reported. But they are intact. Offline weapons mean nothing, an admiral argued, though his voice lacked conviction. Then the Vigilant powered up, not with a surge, but with a quiet alignment. As if systems older than any present species was stretching awake. Energy readings spiked briefly, then stabilized. Controlled with a precision that modern ships rarely achieved. Projectile weapons armed, the analyst announced. Disbelief evident. Mass drivers, rail cannons, kinetic torpedoes. The chamber buzzed with confusion. Those are obsolete, someone said. The human envoy nodded. Yes, he replied, because they cannot be hacked, jammed, or redirected. A simulated firing sequence appeared on the tactical display, showing trajectories calculated not in seconds, but in predictive hours, accounting for enemy maneuvers before they occurred. These weapons are slow, the strategist said, grasping at reassurance. Only if you think in moments, the envoy replied. Historical combat data suddenly surfaced, long buried and rarely accessed. The Vigilant appeared again and again in ancient records, always outnumbered, always damaged, and always victorious. Human tactics favored endurance, the envoy continued. This ship was built to fight wars that lasted decades. Another scan revealed the most disturbing truth yet. The hull was not just armor, it was memory. Each layer encoded with battle, data, damage patterns, and tactical responses. A physical learning system forged through survival rather than software updates. This ship remembers how to fight you, the envoy said softly. The laughter was gone now, replaced by a heavy silence. The Vigilant rotated slowly, ancient gun ports opening like old scars pulling apart. It was not fast, not elegant, not impressive. By modern standards, it was patient, and patience, the conclave was beginning to realize, was far more dangerous than speed. The conclave demanded answers, not as mockers now, but as uneasy observers facing something they did not fully understand. Why reveal this? The high strategist asked. Why bring such a relic now? The human envoy's expression hardened. Because someone attacked our frontier colonies, he said, and assumed we had forgotten how to respond. Archived footage filled the chamber, showing human worlds burning, not recent, but ancient. Images recorded from the same ship now before them. This vessel earned a name. The envoy continued. The translation lagged for a moment, struggling with the weight of the concept. They called it the Last Witness. The conclave listened as the envoy explained how the Vigilant was never meant to win quickly, but to outlast enemies, to survive long enough to learn every weakness, every pattern, every mistake. It does not retreat, he said. It records, records, records. Showed enemy fleets vanishing over decades, not destroyed in single battles, but dismantled over time. Supply lines broken, morale eroded, command structures targeted with relentless precision. This ship taught us that wars are not won by power alone, the envoy said. They are won by memory. The conclave understood now why humanity had not modernized this vessel. It was not upgraded because it was already perfect for its purpose. A new alert echoed through the chamber. Unidentified fleets entering human space, an analyst announced. Multiple factions. The human envoy turned slightly. They are laughing too, he said. The Vigilant aligned its ancient hull toward open space. Engines warming with a low, steady hum. 1,000 years ago, the envoy concluded. This ship was built to remind the galaxy that humans do not disappear. The conclave watched as the ancient human ship departed, its slow acceleration almost insulting compared to modern warp drives. Yet no one laughed. They reviewed the data again and again, unable to reconcile the simplicity of the vessel with the depth of its threat. This ship should not be able to fight modern fleets. One admiral whispered, "It does not fight fleets." Another replied, "It fights time." Days later, reports began to arrive, scattered at first, then increasingly frequent. Enemy ships disabled without visible engagement. Supply hubs destroyed by kinetic strikes launched days earlier. Commanders eliminated by projectiles fired long before evasive orders were given. The Vigilance did not announce victories. It did not broadcast threats. It simply continued. Human space stabilized, then expanded, not through conquest, but through the quiet removal of opposition. The conclave finally understood the lesson too late. Humanity's weakness was never its technology. It was its willingness to wait. to endure, and to remember. And as the galaxy grew silent, one truth echoed across 1,000 systems. They had laughed at humanity's weakest ship, until they learned it had already survived 1,000 years of war, and it was not finished yet.